What's up, everybody? Welcome back to more 428 Shibuya Scramble. My name is Raven from the Sky. Let's continue. The workroom door slowly eased open. Aichi was too shocked for words. The girl who entered looked just like Hitomi. Maria! Hitomi! Aichi blinked in bewilderment. It was almost as if Hitomi were standing in front of a mirror. Two girls looked so similar. Maria, thank goodness you're all right. I'm so sorry I had you worried. Maria was safe, Aichi realized. At last, he had managed to fulfill his duty. How did you manage to get out of the storeroom? Daisuke had gone pale. Tell me, Maria said sharply. Who was it who came up with this kidnapping plan? Suddenly, Daisuke shoved Maria aside and lunged for Hitomi. Stanley moved to stop him, but before he could intervene, the older man had a hold on Hitomi, pressing something that looked like a flashlight up against her neck. Dad! Aichi started toward him, but Stanley held up a hand. Don't move, that's a stun gun. A piece of self-defense equipment for repelling would-be attackers with an electrical shock. There are several types, including baton type, stun prods, and guns that fire needles attached to flexible wires. The latter type especially is frequently referred to in the US as a taser, or taser gun, due to the popular models produced by Taser International, now Axon. Stun guns are used not only by civilians, but also by law enforcement and military personnel for non-lethal applications. If he zaps her in the neck, it could kill her. You know your stuff, Daisuke said. You deal in American electronics. No, I do this for a living. Stanley drew his gun in an instant, taking aim at Daisuke's forehead. Wait, hold on! Aichi interposed himself between Stanley and his father. Aichi was too shocked to even move. Oh boy. Aichi was too shocked to even move. I'm gonna go with this one. Stanley took another step toward Daisuke, keeping his gun trained on the other man. Hey, stop this! Please, just stop! Snapping out of his daze, Aichi scampered between the two men. Stanley didn't lower his gun, but unless he shoved Aichi aside, he couldn't get a clear shot at Aichi's dad. Aichi turned to face his father. Dad, let Hitomi go. You need to stop this nonsense. Aichi walked slowly towards his father, a pleading look in his eyes. Nonsense? Which one of us is talking nonsense here? You don't know what's going on. If you knew everything, then you'd be helping me. What do you mean, everything? With this girl's heart, we can save Suzune. Dad, who was it exactly that told you that? Daisuke did not reply. I asked you a question. Who was it that put this crazy idea into your head? A foreign organ trafficker I met at the hospital, Daisuke muttered. Organ trafficker. In Japan, a medical professional known as a transplant coordinator handles the liaison between the donor and the recipient parties but there are many cases of illegal or borderline illegal activity carried out by third-party organ brokers. There are countries where organ transplants are openly performed for monetary gain, and no shortage of specialists willing to do the job. These questionable markets include suppliers who source viable organs and tissue for transplant from cadavers. Crap is illegal unless you're, organ trafficking. That mess is illegal, highly illegal. You need a transplant, you go through your hospital. Stanley let out a snort. A likely story. It's true. I was suspicious at first myself, Daisuke said stubbornly. But I couldn't just sit around and wait for Suzune to die. After talking to him about her rare blood type and all the difficulties in performing the transplant, he promised he'd do everything in his power. Daisuke's hands were trembling, tears welled up in his vacant, bloodshot eyes. Then, a while later, he got back in touch and told me he'd found a potential match. Someone with the same blood type as Suzune and roughly the same age, but then he told me that the girl was still alive. And so what's the point? Her heart might be a match for Suzune's, but it didn't matter if we couldn't get our hands on it. And I said that, but then the man told me. He told you what? Aiji bit his lip. Then he told me to abduct her and turn her over to him. After that, he'd find a way to make it all work. At last, Daisuke had confessed. Now Aiji had to try to come to grips with the truth he had just heard. I had to do something, his father continued vehemently. I had to abduct this girl and see things through. I just couldn't take it. Kotone had already been taken from me. The thought of losing Suzune too. I had to make sure I didn't fail. So it was this organ trafficker who came up with the kidnapping scheme then, Stanley said. He kept his gun aimed at his target. Daisuke nodded. Describe him for me. He was tall, had black hair, spoke fluent Japanese. Stanley raised an eyebrow after that. Aichi wondered if he had some idea who it might be. And taking Maria Sawa hostage in order to lure out Hitomi, that was his idea as well? Yes, that's right. I allowed his computer to access my surveillance camera system as well. But then this morning I got a call from the hospital saying Suzune's condition was critical. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to help my girl right away. And then Daisuke cut himself off, reaffirming his grip on his stun gun. I was looking at the surveillance monitor, and I saw a detective I happened to know. He was right next to this girl here, and so I decided to ask him. Knew if I did, he wouldn't refuse. He could never refuse a request from me. And that was the man with the cane, Aichi asked. His voice was low and hoarse. Yes. I was giving him directions while I followed you on the monitors. Dad, you need to let go of Hitomi now. There's no point to this. Aichi took another step closer to his father. There's a point. If I kill this girl here and now, your sister can get the surgery she needs. But even Aichi knew that things couldn't possibly work out that way. His father had grown so desperate to help Suzune that he lost all sense of judgment. Why, Aichi? Why won't you help me? Don't you want to save Suzune? Tetsuke made a pathetic sight. Yet his desperation to save his child was so palpable, it was heart-rending. Aichi thought back to that time he had laid his father out with the spine. No matter how pathetic he may have looked, Aichi had always felt a sense of paternal love. You're not going to be able to talk him down, Stanley murmured. Aichi shook his head. Stanley, he said, lower your gun. Tears were welling up in his eyes. Please, lower your gun. Hearing the determination in Aichi's voice, Stanley quietly complied. Aichi stepped to Sasuke, letting a firm grip on his father's slender shoulder. Dad, of course I want to help Suzune. And why are you trying to stop me? Dad, do you think this is what she'd want you to do? Did Suzune ask for this, Dad? Did she tell you to take someone else's heart so that she could live longer? Did she? Suddenly the fright seemed to EBB from Dasuke's body. The stun gun hung limply in his hand. If Suzune asked me to go and get someone's heart for her, I wouldn't object. I'd help her, just like she'd wanted. I wouldn't let you bear these crimes by yourself. But that's not what this is it? Suzune would never ask us to do something like this, would she? By now, tears were streaming down Aichi's cheeks. He knew that his father thought about Suzune more than he thought of anyone else. And so he should know full well that she would never want this. Suzune's not like me. She's smart, she's kind, and she'd never be happy about taking someone else's heart. Even if it saved her life, I'm sure she'd never accept that. She wouldn't be able to live with it, knowing something so horrible had happened to someone else for her sake. Isn't that the Suzune we know? Sasuke's cheeks were smeared with tears now as well. But then we're not going to be able to help her. The sound of father and son weeping echoed through the workroom. Maybe so, maybe we won't. But that's better than the misery and suffering she'd have to live with. Sasuke slumped to his knees on the floor, collapsing like a crumbling mound of sand. Hitomi, freed from his grip, stood motionless. There were tears in her eyes too. You're such an idiot, Dad. Such a complete, utter idiot. Sobbing, Aichi embraced his father. It was a sudden thud from near the door. Everyone turned to look. Now we can jump. Or I would have to wait. No, oh shoot. No. Then we jump back, I think. Oh, that's right. She need to get the treatment. Maria had crumpled to the floor, and a newcomer had appeared. At some point, Kanan had silently entered the room. Now she cradled Maria in her arms. Standing in the doorway was a man Aichi didn't recognize, his face pale. After the young man's desperate pleading, the other fellow, apparently his father, finally gave in. his released his hold on Hitomi, the tension in the room was replaced by a solemn air of gravitas. Seeing father and son weeping as they spoke made Kano think back to his conversation with Tateno before the stakeout. What was it in the people that drove them to do such horrible things? Sometimes it was the desire to save the ones they loved. Even such a heartfelt human emotion could drive someone to wrongdoing. Why? Why did people have to be like that? A sudden thud snapped Kano out of his musing. An instant later, Kanan hurried past him in the workroom. Maria had collapsed on the floor, and now Kanan was beside her. In a panic, Kano rushed to the workroom as well. "Stay back," Kanan shouted, as the others tried to huddle around the fallen girl. "Please, don't be what I think this is. Had the virus gone symptomatic? 2 hours ago, Stanley had told Kano that Maria was infected. He'd also said that her symptoms wouldn't develop for another 4 hours. Shouldn't they still have 2 more hours to go?" Maria looked like she was dead, her eyes closed, her body motionless. Hitomi tried to approach despite Kanan's warning. "Maria!" she cried. What's wrong?" Kano held his arms wide to hold her back. "Your sister has been infected with the UA virus." "The UA virus?" Hitomi's face went pale. "Hey," Kano said to Kanan, "should you really be that close if she's developed symptoms?" But Kanan didn't move from Maria's side. She calmly rested her hand on the other girl's forehead. "There's no fever, and there's no blood coming from her ears, no lymph swelling. It'll be all right. She hasn't gone symptomatic yet. In that case, why did she collapse?" Hitomi asked. "I'm not sure yet. Whatever the case, if we don't get her to that antiviral, she's done for. Then we have to get her to the lab right away," Hitomi said. She was trembling with anxiety. "No, that's not an option." Kano's tone was grave. "You may already be aware, Miss Osawa, that without a password, we can't access the antiviral storage. But when I went over there, my father and Mr. Tanaka, Mayamuro Tanaka, is dead. Murdered." "What?" She stared at him uncomprehendingly. No, that can't be true. He was a member of a crime syndicate. It's possible they killed him in order to silence him. So then there's no way to save my sister?" There was a hollow look in Hitomi's eyes. "No, I won't accept that. Why? Why can't we help her?" But no one had an answer. Kano gritted his teeth and hung his head. Why did it have to come to this? Why did it come? He'd come this far, but there was nothing he could do, and he hated himself for it? "I'll go to the laboratory." It was Kanan. Electronic lock breaking is my specialty. "Wait," the young man Aichi spoke up suddenly. "So you're a martial arts badass, but your specialty is lock breaking?" He looked positively dumbstruck. Kanan ignored him, thinking out loud, brute force. Cryptanalysis technique that involves test input of all theoretically possible patterns. If time were unlimited, this would be the most reliable means of decipherment. However, in practice, the process takes massive amounts of time, computational power, and can be defeated by systems that prohibit access after a limited number of failed input attempts. Side channel. Rather than trying to decipher the password itself, this method involves analyzing information from the device, such as processing time, power consumption, and electromagnetic leaks that uses these details to exploit the system. Isolating the run state of the device is a crucial element of countering side channel attacks. Shortcut. Method that uses mathematical algorithms to carry out efficient bulk calculations against a block cipher that makes use of a shared key for encryption and decryption. Even when such calculations are theoretically possible, however, in practice, the process requires large amounts of time in the block cipher. Given the situation, I think I have to go with side channel. Side channels. Where's your equipment? One of the lab PCs will suffice. I can connect to a special server from the net. I don't really understand the stuff you're talking about, Aichi said, but I'll trust you to handle this. I mean, you did risk your life to save Hitomi from that minivan explosion and all. I have to warn you in advance, though. Cryptanalysis can take hours and still yield no results. I can't guarantee I'll be able to get the doors unlocked before Maria develops symptoms. I understand, Tony said. Aichi nodded too. No one present had any objections. All of a sudden, there was a curious sound somewhere in the room. What's that? Kano said. What's making that noise? He looked around in the workroom. That's my computer. Daisuke hurried to his desktop. The bank of monitors, which had been displaying surveillance camera footage from around Shibuya, had all gone black. What the heck? What's going on, Dad? Aichi joined his father, staring at the computer screens. It's all gone. The camera footage has been deleted. Daisuke blinked in disbelief. Now then, it seems our main cast has all been assembled. A man's voice, distorted by a voice modulator, suddenly emerged from the computer speakers. A moment later, the monitors all began to display a view of the inside of the workroom. Dad, what the heck is this? Someone's broken through our firewall. They've hijacked the surveillance camera system. The color drained from Daisuke's face as he looked at the screens. Where are they? They are filming us from. Kano asked, scanning the inside of the room. He used the image on the monitors to guess where the camera might be located. The lens of a camera set atop a computer monitor glimmered like an eye. It was the miniature camera used for web conferencing and the like. Now that Maria and Hitomi are both there, you have probably surmised the situation at hand. And so I offer a proposal. A laboratory password in exchange for Hitomi's blood. Realizing now that it was Alfred's voice they were hearing, everyone in the room froze. At 7 o'clock, roughly 1 hour from now, see that Hitomi OSAWAS is waiting at the Scramble intersection outside Shibuya Station, just like this morning. Unless, of course, you're feeling particularly confident. You do have Kanan with you. Perhaps you do care to take a gamble on her lock-breaking skills instead. Kanan clutched her tongue in frustration. Alfred had known exactly what the plan was. Yeah, because the surveillance. Of course, if Kanan wasn't able to get the door open in time, what will you do then? Maria's sure to die, yes? But that's not all. You don't agree to my offer. I have the means of creating another Maria and a third. These infectees will spread the virus. You take it, Tokyo, and the death toll will likely number in the hundreds of thousands. So do think carefully before you decide. Alfred's voice was chillingly matter of fact. I will appear at the rendezvous in person. After all, it wouldn't do for the star of the show to miss the final curtain. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you then. Silence fell. Then the images of the computer monitor returned to normal. The surveillance camera footage came back online as well. Daisuke promptly yanked out the internet cable and slammed his fist on the keyboard. Damn it. There was a hole in the firewall. I'll have to redo my security from the ground up. Good call, Kanan said calmly. We can't win this if our intel keeps getting leaked. Stanley pursed his lips in consternation. What do we do? Kanan asked him. Do we give in to his demands? I mean, do we really expect he's just gonna blithely show up like that? He's practically begging for us to come and catch him. There had to be some deeper plan at work. If it means saving my sister, I'll do it. Hitomi was resolute. No, Stanley said, you can't. What? Why not? Because if you do, you'll be killed. What? Hitomi's voice caught in her throat. If the antiviral is still present in your body a week after the fact, you're too much of a liability for Alfred to just let go. He's right, don't do it, Aichi exclaimed. Hitomi, you can't go. Even still, I want to do it. Hitomi stared definitely at Stanley. If you still want to go even knowing you'll be killed, I can't just sit here and hope that Kanan is able to pull this off. I want to do something for my sister. I want to save her. She peered down at Maria, sprawled on the floor. She'd object to you going, I'm sure of that. But I want to do what I can. To do things my way. No one tried to contradict her this time. If she's willing to take the risk, then there are things the rest of you can do too. It was Kanan again. Let's hear it, Kanan replied. He squared his shoulders. He was one of the same mind as Hitomi. He couldn't just do nothing and leave it all on Kanan. For everything he'd been through, he wanted to stick with this case until the very end. After hearing Alphard at the rendezvous and demand the password from him, Kanan offered suggestion as it were a simple task, unless you get what you want without putting Hitomi in danger. Kanan let out a sigh. Hold on, he said. Even if we do arrest him, how are we going to get him to cough up the password? There are ways. Once Alfred has made contact with Hitomi, call my cell phone. Hitomi tilted her head. I'll call you. I have plenty of information Alfred might want to bargain for. I can negotiate with him directly. Kano considered Kanan's proposal. I see. So we'll try both options. Attempt to hack the password at the lab and also try to negotiate with Alfred. That gives us two chances. That tiny ray of hope, Hitomi's face brightened home. Some. We'll split into two groups, one for the lab and one for Shibuya Station. Let's exchange phone numbers so we can be in touch when the time comes. Hitomi and Kanan called one another's phones to be sure. Hitomi's cheerful ringtone felt out of place, but also somehow soothing, a fragment of normality in an Eastern crisis. I'm sorry for having to keep putting things on you. Hey, Kanan replied, don't worry about it. Okay, now I guess I should call my father. Hitomi called Kenji OSAWAS on his cell, asking him to let Maria and Kanan into the lab. When he saw the name on the incoming call display, he nearly shouted out loud. It's Hitomi. Hitomi? Are you alright? Please tell me you're right. Yeah, I'm fine, but Maria's... Maria? Is Maria there with you? Sawa's heart leaped. Dad, there isn't any time for me to explain everything, so I'll just have to give you the main points. So we can save my sister. Just stay calm and listen, Osawa struggled to hold back the 1,000 questions that immediately came boiling into his mind. There's a girl named Kanan who's going to bring Maria to the lab. She's going to try to hack the password in order to get us inside. Wait now, hold on. There's a bunch of people here working to help save Maria. Can you wait for us at the lab, Dad? I'm not sure that electronic lock is something that'll be easy to. We've got another plan in motion too. If that goes well, we might be able to learn the password. It was all too much to follow, but Osawa realized he'd have to take Hitomi at her word. It was their only hope of saving Maria. All right, he said. I'll do as you asked. But you said you were trying to approach us. Oh, I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Okay, very well. I'm heading to the laboratory now. You can't. You can't go. The moment Osawa hung up and started for the house, AI clung to him from behind. If you use the antiviral now, she said, everything will go public. There's no way we can keep the virus or the antiviral on the wraps at this point. Osawa tried to pull free, but his wife was stronger than he expected. Besides, if Maria infects other people, the whole world is going to find out in a matter of hours. Now, we can't just quarantine her. If it's handled correctly, we'll still be able to retain secrecy. Ai's voice was cold as ice. Besides, if Maria infects other people, the whole world is going to find out in a matter of... No, we can't just quarantine her, but it's handled. Okay. Do you even have any idea what you're saying right now? I do. I know how it sounds, but this is the only thing I can... Her voice trailed off. He could feel the force of her trembling. Well, she held him. Have I really put you in that much of a... Osawa slipped from Ai's arms and prostrated himself on the ground in front of her. I'm sorry. I'm truly, truly sorry. Oh, stop this. Get up. If you're really sorry, then don't go to that lab. But Osawa remained silent, his forehead pressed to the dirt. If you use that antiviral without corporate approval, your time with Okashi is finished. That doesn't matter to me anymore. How can you say that? Virology is the only thing you've ever cared about. I began pummeling his back. Maybe virology is all that I care about. I don't know the first thing about anything else. I never wanted to know. Never even thought to find out. Never bothered to learn what you or my own children might think. I'm a failure, as a father and as a husband. How dare you say that only after it's come to this? I struck him again, harder than before. You're right, he gasped out the words between her blows. Maybe this has been too long coming, but it's not too late. I can still start over. Start over? She paused in disbelief. You already turned down that American job. If you use that antiviral now, there won't be any starting over. You'll lose everything. Will I lose you too? After you've gone and thrown everything else away like this? How could I possibly stay with you? I was sobbing softly now. Osawa wondered what her tears were for. But there was one thing he did know. She was right. They couldn't be together anymore. He got to his feet and headed back into the house, leaving Ai behind. He hurried through the back entrance and went to the garage. Climbed into his car, fastened his seatbelt, and took a deep breath. The image of a younger Maria rose in the back of his mind. There she was at the park, getting drenched by the rain, holding back her tears as she waited for her father. Wait for me, Maria. This time, I'm going to come for you. I was wrong. Going to the lab wouldn't mean losing everything. He let too many important things slip through his fingers. Now, it was time to go take them back. Osawa pulled his car into the street and sped toward the laboratory. As if to signal that long day was drawing to a close, the dazzling sun sank down between the buildings in the distance. and all right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. My name is Raven from the Sky. If you enjoyed the episode, drop a like and subscribe to the channel and the series grow. Take care. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.